first and foremost, I just want to say thank you all so much for tuning into the channel. Thank you all so much for subscribing, and thank you all for contributing to making this place a peaceful environment. As we all know, we are only a few more days away from it being officially 2023, and pretty much we need to get our ducks in order. And in order to do that, I am bringing some words of Earl Nightingale. And he pretty much says that if we want to achieve anything in life, we must first come up with a plan, and then we have to figure out how we are going to get there. Which makes sense, right? You know exactly where you are right now. You have an idea of where it is that you want to go. Now you just need to figure out how you're going to get from point A to point B. The first step in all of this is to have a good idea of where it is that we want to be. And in order to do that, we have to have a vision. We have to have the ability to be able to see ourselves there. With that being said, the definition of vision is the state of being able to see. Vision is also the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination and wisdom. So now that we have the idea that it takes both imagination as well as wisdom in order for us to create our vision, let's get a very clear understanding of what imagination is. Imagination is the ability of the mind to be creative and to be resourceful. And when I think of this, I automatically think of when we were growing up as kids and we were really just living our lives in the moments, really coming from a carefree space, completely unaware and ignorant of anybody else's opinions and their judgments. And we were honestly just in our own world, being completely carefree and creative. So when it comes to creating our vision, coming up with our vision, we really want to hone into that space of happiness and joy, what really makes us feel fulfilled, and bringing that out into the forefront. On the flip side, wisdom is when you have good judgment, you have experience, and you have knowledge, and you are able to act in regard to that knowledge and experience. To reiterate, it takes imagination and wisdom in order to really enact on our vision. So take some time to sit and take a moment to just really bask in the feeling of happiness, what makes you feel good, what services you can do for other people, what really makes you feel fulfilled and joyful, and figure out how you can use those in order to get to wherever you're trying to get in life, in order to achieve whatever it is that you feel will make you feel totally successful. Once you have that destination, it is now time for us to figure out how are you going to get there? What steps must you take in order to get to where you are trying to go? A really good outline for the characteristics that you want your end goal to be is the SMART outline, which is pretty much an acronym for ensuring that the goal is specific, making sure that it is attainable and measurable. You want to make sure that your goal is achievable and reasonable within where you are and what you have, as well as it being able to yield a fulfilling enough reward. And you want it to be able to be realistic in a sense of how long is this going to take, and how long am I willing to be dedicated to this in order to be able to see results. So starting off with the idea that your goal has to be specific, you really want to get completely clear and concise with what exactly it is that you want. If you cannot sit and word for word, like describe and jot down exactly what it is, describe it in full detail, then most likely it's not completely specific. You haven't gotten down to the meat and the bones of what it is that you want. That is the first step. A clear goal equals an obvious destination. And when we have a clear vision, we are able to take the steps that we need in order to ensure that we get to where we are trying to go. Now, I feel like the measurable part and the time-bound part of the SMART goal outline kind of coincide with each other in a sense that you want your goal to be measurable. Pretty much you want to be able to know at what point in your goal are you from completing it? You want to have a clear and concise timeline for how long it is going to take you in order to reach this goal, and how will you know that you are making progress within that goal? Will you have certain milestones that you know, okay, well, once I reach to this point, I know that I'm about 25% there, or once I end up achieving this part of my goal, I'll know that I'm at least halfway towards getting everything under my belt. How will you track your progress? How will you know that you are sticking to your goal and your plan? And how will you know that the plan is on the right track? Because let's face it, obstacles will get in the way, just because that's a part of life. Things happen, and sometimes we can't account for everything that will happen. And when those things do happen, you want to make sure that not only are you able to conquer the obstacle and keep moving forward, but that if the outline of your goal needs to be changed in any kind of way, of course you would want to reset dates and reevaluate everything. So you want everything to be able to be measurable. Another aspect of the SMART goal outline is the idea that you want it to be achievable. Now, pretty much this is just saying that whatever it is that you want to achieve, you want to make sure that you have exactly what you need in order to get to where you are going. So let's say that, I'm just throwing something kind of out there, you had a goal to like get across the country into like another country within like a certain amount of time, but you don't have a passport. In a sense, your goal wouldn't be achievable because you don't have everything that you need in order to make it to the next country. You would want to make sure that all of your ducks are in a row, and if they are not, you need to figure out what it is that you need to get in order to make it so that your goal is achievable. So again, this kind of coincides with any obstacles and challenges that may get into your way. Yes, your goal may be achievable, but there may be some hardships or some setbacks along the way. You want to kind of try to have some kind of foresight into what those obstacles may be and try to plan ahead for them. Now, again, life is kind of unpredictable. We may not know exactly what all will happen at what time, but if we can kind of come prepared with an idea of what could possibly happen, it makes us even more open to being able to conquer those obstacles. And not to mention just the fact of us being more flexible in our goal outline, we're able to shift and move things around and act accordingly and adapt when changes do arise and occur. SMART goals are always reasonable, and I always say that you have to use what it is that you have in order to get to where you're going. So with that being said, use all of the resources that you can. Reach out to people that you know are in the field of what it is that you're trying to achieve. Even if you have to model them in order to get to where you want to go, do so. Whatever resources you can get your hands on, the internet is out there. You can pretty much find out any bit of information just by searching it up on Google. So don't limit yourself. Try to get a hand on as many resources as possible, and word of mouth is always very useful. So if you can get your information that you have into the hands of someone else that may have more tools and resources in order to help you get to where you need to get, do so, because sometimes making connections is very important, and you never know what kind of connection could be a dire help in you achieving your goal at the end of the day. So don't limit yourself. Now that we have pretty much outlined the ideas of what a SMART goal is and the acronyms and the breakdown of everything, I just wanted to throw some key points out there. I know that sometimes when we have a goal and it may be on the bigger side, it may be a little intimidating to try to get things started, but the main thing to remember is that it takes baby steps. A wall isn't built just by placing the wall there and it just does its thing by being strong and concrete. It takes several layers of bricks. It takes several pounds of cement and them being placed in a strategic way before that wall is able to stand tall and fulfill its duties. So it's the same thing with our goals and what it is we are trying to achieve. We must break these big projects down into smaller versions that can be tackled on a day-to-day and week-to-week basis. And this kind of coincides with the idea that you want the goal to be measurable and time bound. You want to have a deadline of when you are going to project that you will be finished with the goal, or at least finished with the different tasks within the goal, so that you have an overall picture of how long the project is going to take you. Not only will this keep you consistent, but it will also keep you dedicated and on track, on schedule, and progressively moving towards what it is that you want to achieve. In my case, I'll share a bit of information with you guys. I haven't placed it into like a complete goal of, oh, I would like to learn Spanish by the end of 2023. I guess that is something that I can, within my own realm of like learning and growing, can push and become more assertive in. But for right now, I have a streak going on Duolingo where I am taking time every day to practice Spanish. And in the environment when I'm outside of my house, in my environment, I try to communicate with Spanish speaking people as much as possible. Now, before, that's pretty much like all I was doing was the Duolingo and maybe like having conversations here and there. But once I reached out to another Spanish speaking person, they told me, hey, you should definitely try to listen to Hispanic music and watch Hispanic TV shows, as well as actually reading Spanish like in book form or in articles. That will really help you to reinforce the different methods in which you will come in contact with Spanish, and it will really make it so that you have a really good understanding, and the more that you practice every day, you will get better at it. So that is pretty much a way that you can see that I had a outside resource give me advice on a goal that I'm pretty much working on, and now I'm making it a thing every day to make sure that I practice my Spanish, and with due time I can see myself progressively getting better. So all in all, just to reiterate, you want to make sure that you are breaking down your big goal into smaller chunks, into a pretty much timeline-based schedule of how you are going to ensure that you are working on your goal on a day-to-day basis, or even a week-to-week basis. What tasks that you can break down into smaller chunks that you can probably work on in a 15-minute chunk or in an hour chunk? What can you assure that you can do every single day to make sure that you are working towards your goal and making progress towards your goal? And how will you ensure that you are actually making progress? How can you track that you are actually making progress? All in all, I hope that my video was helpful. These tips have definitely been helpful for me in regards to getting a concrete idea of where it is that I want to be within the next 2 to 3 years, and how I'm going to be working towards getting there. We only have a few more days of 2022 left. And with that being said, I just want to encourage you all to get started on anything that you would like to change about your life, about your lifestyle or your environment, anything that you feel like you would like to improve and grow. Definitely take this video as a sign to start now. You ain't even gotta wait until 2023. We have today, and that means we can do something right now in this moment. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you all for supporting. Definitely leave me a like if you enjoyed or learned something today. Comment down below what you guys are excited to get into for 2023, and subscribe. This channel is a newborn baby. We're pretty much just getting everything rolling, and I'm super duper excited to be here for all of you guys. So I hope you guys are excited too. With all that being said, happy planning, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.